Do you have any idea what it does to someone when you vanish without a trace? I'm not talking about pulling back or giving them some breathing room. I'm talking about wiping yourself out of their life entirely, like you never existed. Imagine turning off the switch, cutting the cord that kept you tied to their games, their whims, their lack of respect. Here's the brutal reality. They thought they had you like a puppet on strings. They figured you'd always be there, ready to entertain, to answer, to care. And that's where they went wrong. You see, people will push until there's nothing left of you. They'll milk your patience dry, treat your kindness like it's trash, assume your loyalty is a given. Why? Because you allowed it. Every time you stayed, every time you tolerated the disrespect, the lukewarm affection, the indifference, you gave them another inch of control. They've treated you like a spare piece in their life, someone they can pull off the shelf when they're bored or need a quick ego boost. And as long as you stay, they'll keep playing the game. But here's where you flip the script. Imagine this. One day, they reach for that attention, and it's gone. They text, they call, they scroll through their phone, and it's radio silence. No responses, no posts, no presence. You're not a backup plan anymore. You've erased yourself, and suddenly, their world feels a whole lot smaller. Sometimes you have to walk away, not to make them realize your worth, but for you to finally realize your own. That's the cold truth. When you disappear, it's not to teach them some little lesson. It's to reclaim your power, to remind yourself that you are not anyone's option, anyone's second choice. And in that silence, that empty space, they're left with nothing but the echo of all the times they took you for granted. It's like removing the air from a room and watching them suffocate. When you vanish, you become the absence they can't ignore, the missing piece they never appreciated until it was gone. And don't think for a second they won't feel it. They'll feel it more deeply than any word you could say. It's a void that sticks with them, clawing at their thoughts, invading their quiet moments. You don't just leave a gap, you leave a wound they can't heal. Because when someone loses what they took for granted, the silence screams louder than anything you could ever say. They start looking in all the places they thought they could find you, and you're nowhere to be found. Their confidence crumbling, their ego bruised and battered. Suddenly, they're asking themselves questions they never considered before. Did I push them too far? Did I really lose them? And they're right to question it, because this isn't just a break. It's a vanishing act that sends one brutal message. You've moved on. Think about it. They made you feel like an accessory in their life, like a throwaway toy they'd pick up and drop whenever it suited them. Now, let them feel the emptiness of that missing piece. When you disappear, you become their unsolvable mystery, the shadow they can't shake, the itch they can't scratch. Your absence? It's like a black hole they can't escape, a reminder that they're left with their own emptiness, their own insecurities, and no more of your energy to feed off of. And don't let anyone tell you this is about playing games. This isn't some cheap trick or manipulative tactic. This is you finally realizing that you don't owe anyone your presence, especially those who treated you like garbage. You don't stick around for someone who only shows up when it's convenient for them. You don't keep putting in effort for someone who leaves you guessing, doubting, begging for scraps of their attention. You walk away because you've decided to stop being the backup, the fallback, the safety net. What happens next? They're left questioning, scrambling, haunted by every moment they didn't appreciate you. They'll replay every conversation, every glance, every memory, desperate to figure out where they went wrong. And that's the beauty of it. While they're drowning in their regrets, You're already moving forward, no longer weighed down by their games, no longer a puppet to their whims. Remember this: respect yourself enough to walk away from anything that no longer serves you, grows you, or makes you happy. You owe it to yourself to walk away, to show yourself that you deserve better. They'll feel the sting, they'll feel the loss, and they'll be left with nothing but memories and regret. And by the time they reach out, it'll be too late. You're already gone, a chapter they can't reopen. So here's my challenge to you. Let them feel it. Let them sit in that emptiness. Don't break the silence. Don't give them a way back. Make them feel every second of the loneliness they created. If you're ready to take control, if you're ready to step away and let them experience the cold reality of losing you, I want you to drop this phrase in the comments: I'm done playing. Say it, mean it, and let them chase shadows while you're moving forward into a life free from their games. This isn't about revenge or proving a point. This is about taking back your life. So, cut the strings, break free, and let them know, without a single word, that you're done being a puppet in their twisted game. They'll feel it in ways they never saw coming, and you'll be there, watching from a distance as they come to terms with a reality without you in it. Are you ready to finally reclaim your power? To let them see they're no longer pulling your strings, no longer dragging you through their endless games and shallow apologies. This is your moment. If you're done with being their second choice, their fallback, their safety net, then it's time to make it real. Don't just sit there. Stand up, declare it, and mean it. Show them, and yourself, that you're done being the one left waiting, wondering, hoping for things to change. Drop "I'm done playing" in the comments if you're ready to step out of their shadow and into your own light. This isn't just a phrase. It's a declaration, a promise to yourself that from here on out, you hold the power. Let them feel what it's like to be on the outside looking in. Let's get into the 7 things they'll feel when you completely disappear. This isn't something they ever planned for, and trust me, it's going to hit them harder than they imagined. When you walk away, you're not just a minor blip on their radar. You're a shockwave that reshapes their entire reality. This isn't about giving them a little space. It's about creating a hollow, empty void they never thought they'd experience. You become the silence that echoes in their mind, the missing puzzle piece they can't fill. And, let me tell you, they'll feel it everywhere. In their thoughts, in their routine, in their so-called confidence. This is where the game flips, where they start feeling a pull they never expected. Your absence, the very thing they shrugged off, now creeps into every quiet moment, every thought they can't shake. It's like a magnetic force that drags their attention back to you, no matter how hard they try to ignore it. They'll wonder where you went, what you're doing, and why they didn't see your worth until it was too late. Here's the beauty of it. The longer you stay away, the stronger that pull becomes. You're no longer the one chasing. They're the ones left scrambling, craving, realizing they can't find anyone who fills that space like you did. So stick with me. Hit that like button to get this message to more people who need the strength to reclaim their power, because you're not alone in this. Let's break this cycle together and show them what it's like to truly miss out. Number 1, the shock of being cut off. So folks, let's talk about that first sharp moment, the shock they feel when you cut them off completely. This isn't just a casual step back or a quiet shift in energy. No, this is you pulling yourself out of their orbit, detaching yourself from their hold on you, and letting them feel what life is like without you in it. And here's the truth. They won't just feel a little ripple. They'll feel the impact of that decision like a hammer blow. It's the shock of suddenly realizing you're gone, and they have no clue where you went, or if you're ever coming back. Imagine this. You've been trying to attract someone new, or maybe it's someone who's been distant, someone who's let their attention wander. You've been putting in the effort, making yourself available, showing up in ways they didn't even deserve. You're giving them attention, showing interest, staying patient. But they, on the other hand, treat you like you're replaceable. They assume that you'll always be around, hovering on the edge of their life, giving without asking for anything in return. Number 2. A hollow space they can't fill. Now, let's talk about the emptiness you leave behind when you walk away, the hollow space they can't fill. When you pull yourself out of someone's life, especially someone who's been distant, indifferent, or playing games, you leave a gap so vast they won't know how to handle it. This isn't just the loss of a little attention or some occasional messages. This is a hole they weren't prepared for, a hollow reminder that you're not just another option they can pick up when it's convenient. You were the one who brought energy, warmth, and presence to their life, and now that's gone, replaced by nothing but silence. Think about it. When you're present, they don't have to try. They're used to you reaching out, making plans, putting in the effort. To them, your presence became as familiar as air. But here's what they didn't realize. Air can be taken away, and when it is, they feel like they're gasping for something to fill the emptiness you left. This isn't some minor inconvenience. This is a void, and it grows with every passing day. The people who treated you as if you didn't matter are now the ones who have to face the silence where you once filled the room. Let's use an example to make this real. Picture you're trying to get close to someone who's always seemed a bit distant. You're putting in the time, giving them your undivided attention, always making an effort. You're there in all the ways they wouldn't be if the tables were turned. And they took all that for granted, treated your presence like it was replaceable, like you'd be there whenever they needed. But then, one day, you stop. You stop reaching out. You pull your energy back. Suddenly, there's a hollow space in their life, a gaping hole they can't just fill with anyone else. And the thing about this empty space, it's not just a reminder that you're not there. It's a constant echo of every time they ignored you, dismissed you, or failed to see what you brought into their life. They might try to fill that void with distractions, new people, social media, anything to numb the emptiness. But nothing sticks because they're looking for you, not just another warm body or casual conversation. You weren't just another option. You were the source of connection, energy, and attention they can't just replace on a whim. Imagine someone in an old relationship where things have started to fall apart. They treat your presence like it's an afterthought, never showing up for you in the way you need. They think they can keep going through the motions, half-heartedly giving back, because they're convinced you'll never leave. But when you finally walk away, when you decide you're done with the breadcrumbs they've been throwing at you, that's when they feel it. Hard. They might not say it out loud, but that space you leave behind becomes a reminder of everything they didn't appreciate. And this hollow space, it's not just an empty chair, an unread message, or a missing text thread. It's a haunting feeling. It's in those quiet moments when they're alone, when they have time to think, that it hits them hardest. It's like a song stuck on repeat, reminding them of how easily you slipped away, of how they didn't care enough to keep you. This void doesn't just disappear, and they can't distract themselves from it for long. It's there, constantly reminding them of what they lost, what they failed to nurture, and what they took for granted. Now here's the truth. By leaving that hollow space, you're not just letting them feel your absence, you're letting them face themselves. Every time they try to ignore it, to push it away. It comes back stronger because they can't run from their own choices. You've given them the chance to see what life is like without you in it, and that's a cold, empty place they'll struggle to fill. So here's your affirmation. I am the presence they won't find anywhere else. Say it and mean it, because your energy is unique, your presence irreplaceable. You're not a convenience, a backup, or a second option. You are the priority, the one they didn't value until you were gone. Hold on to that power. And if you're ready to step fully into this, then stay with me. We're just scratching the surface of how powerful your absence really is. Like this video, share it, and help someone else realize the value they bring to the table. Because when you step away, you don't just disappear. You leave an emptiness that forces them to see you for the one-of-a-kind person you are. Let's take this journey together and show them what true presence means by embracing your power and stepping fully into it. Number 3. Curiosity turns into obsession. When you disappear, curiosity takes over. It starts as a quiet question in the back of their mind, something they can brush off. But as the days go by and your absence grows louder, that casual curiosity becomes something much more intense. A nagging, obsessive need to know where you are, what you're doing, and why you're no longer available. They'll tell themselves it doesn't matter, that they're fine without you. But each time they pick up their phone, scrolling through messages and not seeing your name, it eats at them a little more. They start wondering if you're talking to someone else, if you're happier without them, if maybe you've already forgotten them. And that's where curiosity turns to obsession. Imagine someone who once treated you like an afterthought, someone who never seemed to make the time for you. They assumed you'd always be there, that your attention was something they could take or leave. But when you disappear, they're forced to confront the fact that you're not there to give them updates, to share your life, to make them feel important. You've taken away the ease of knowing they could reach out at any time, and now they're left grappling with the unknown. Every question becomes a small piece of that obsession, building until it's the only thing they can think about. Think about it. They'll start doing things they swore they'd never do. They might start checking your social media, trying to catch any glimpse of what you're up to. They'll go through mutual friends, ask indirect questions, or scroll through old conversations, looking for clues. In their mind, it's no longer a question of where you are. It's about who you're with, who you're giving your attention to now that it's no longer on them. Or maybe it's someone you were close to, someone who acted like your connection didn't mean much. They barely responded to messages, flaked out on plans, and always made you feel like they had better things to do. But now, they're replaying every memory, every conversation, searching for answers, wondering if they missed something. They're questioning themselves in ways they never did before. Was it me? Did I push them away? That casual indifference they used to feel has turned into an obsession because for the first time they're realizing they don't have a hold on you. It's not just about missing you, it's about craving that certainty they once had. Your absence has created a gap in their life, a question they can't answer, and it's driving them crazy. This curiosity, this obsession, has taken over their mind because they're no longer in control. You've flipped the dynamic, and now they're the ones left waiting, wondering and longing for a glimpse of you. The beauty of it all. You're not even playing the game. You're simply living your life, moving forward without needing to look back. This obsession they're feeling is entirely on them, a reflection of their own lack of care when they had the chance. And as long as you stay out of reach, their curiosity will keep growing. They'll become more and more consumed by the need to know what you're doing, why you're no longer there, and if they've truly lost you. Let's ground ourselves in this powerful moment. This isn't about manipulating or seeking revenge. It's about standing in your own power and letting them come to terms with the void they created. Remind yourself of this. I am not here to satisfy anyone's curiosity. I am worth more than being someone's option. Say it, believe it, and hold on to it. And if you're ready to fully embrace this, to let them feel every inch of that curiosity without answering a single question, then stay with me. This journey is about reclaiming your power, about understanding that their curiosity, their obsession, is simply a mirror reflecting how deeply they feel your absence. Number 4, forced to face their own mistakes. When you vanish, they're left alone with something most people run from, their own reflection. Without you around, they're forced to look at their behavior, their choices, and the careless way they treated you. There's no buffer, no one to blame or distract from the truth. They're left to face themselves. And it stings. The absence you leave behind isn't just an empty space. It's a spotlight shining on every way they messed up. Maybe they brushed off your kindness, ignored your messages, kept you hanging without a second thought. They assumed they had all the time in the world to do better, to show up, to actually value what you brought into their life. But now, without you there, they're left with the undeniable truth. They blew it. Think of someone who treated you as a fallback, someone who took you for granted. They ignored your worth, acted like your attention was their right, something they didn't have to earn. Now that you're gone, they can't escape the memories of all the times they dismissed you, let you down, or failed to put in the effort. It's a mental replay that's impossible to ignore. Or imagine the person who kept you guessing, who strung you along, making you question your own value. Now that you're out of reach, they're haunted by the silence. Every quiet moment reminds them of the times they had you and didn't care. They're forced to look back and realize that they kept someone incredible at arm's length. And now that you're gone, the emptiness they feel is a direct consequence of their own choices. They might try to shake it off, distract themselves, or convince themselves that it doesn't matter. But it does. Deep down, they know they've made mistakes that can't be easily undone. They're left with a sinking feeling, a realization that maybe, just maybe, they were the ones who weren't good enough. That's the harsh reality of facing your own mistakes without someone to cushion the blow. And it's a bitter pill for them to swallow. Here's the power of this moment. You've walked away, not out of anger or revenge, but out of respect for yourself. You're no longer willing to carry the weight of their poor choices, to constantly be the one who forgives, who lets things slide, who always understands. They're the ones left with the consequences, and the longer you stay away, the clearer it becomes to them that they were the problem all along. Now, let's affirm this. I am not responsible for anyone else's mistakes or regrets. Say it, own it, and feel the weight lift. You're not here to carry their guilt or to fix what they broke. You're here to reclaim your peace, to focus on your own growth, and to leave their mistakes for them to face alone. So if you're ready to hold this line, stay with me. Let's keep moving forward, embracing this strength together. Your absence is more powerful than anything you could say or do. And let's continue this journey towards self-respect, self-worth, and self-love. Number 5, an urge to win you back. Now that they're facing the empty space you left and the weight of their own mistakes, a powerful urge starts to take hold, the need to win you back. This isn't a fleeting thought or a passing regret. It's a full-blown realization that they've lost something they can't replace, and it haunts them. They remember what it was like to have you around, the stability, the comfort, the respect you showed, and now that you're gone, they're left scrambling to bring you back into their world. The person who once acted indifferent, who thought they could take you or leave you, is now feeling an intense urge to reach out, to fix things, to undo the damage they caused. They're no longer so cool, so distant. They feel a drive to pull you back into their orbit because the reality of losing you stings deeper than they're willing to admit. They'll start thinking about all the times they kept you waiting, the times they treated you as if you were replaceable. Those memories don't go away easily, and now they're confronted with a truth they can't escape. They had someone remarkable, and they let you slip through their fingers. Picture this. They might start reaching out in subtle ways, dropping hints on social media, or sending you casual messages that seem out of nowhere. They're testing the waters, hoping you'll respond, hoping there's still a chance. Or maybe they'll even go as far as showing up unexpectedly, trying to remind you of the connection they neglected. But the truth is, they're not doing this because they suddenly realized your value. They're doing this because the loss of you has disrupted their life in a way they didn't see coming. Or maybe it's an old relationship where they started treating you like background noise, ignoring the effort you put in, the love you gave freely. Now, without you, they feel the urge to pull you back, to rekindle what they threw away. But here's the irony. They're the ones now feeling the need to prove themselves, to put in the effort they never thought you deserved. The roles have reversed, and now they're the ones who feel that sense of urgency, that drive to make you feel valued, the same way you once did for them. Remember this: you don't owe anyone a second chance just because they realized your worth after you walked away. Your decision to walk away was a declaration of your self-worth, a decision to choose yourself over being taken for granted. And this urge they feel, that's a reflection of your value. But you don't have to take them back just because they're feeling the loss. They're welcome to try, to hope, to regret. But that doesn't mean you're obligated to meet them halfway. Here's your affirmation: I am worth more than someone's regret. I deserve consistent respect and effort. Say it, feel it, and remind yourself that their urge to win you back is not your responsibility. Your peace, your growth, and your self-respect are what matter most. And if you're ready to keep standing firm, stay with me. Let's keep moving forward on this path together, letting their urge to win you back be a reminder of just how irreplaceable you truly are. Number 6. Regret eats at their pride. When they realize you're really gone, regret begins to eat away at them in ways they didn't see coming. At first, they may have shrugged off your absence, thinking they could replace you or move on without a second thought. But as days turn into weeks, regret starts to hit deeper, chipping away at the very thing they held on to most: their pride. That pride made them believe they didn't need you, that they could act however they wanted without consequences. But now, that same pride is starting to break down under the weight of losing you. Regret is a brutal teacher. They begin to think back on every moment they treated you as if you didn't matter, every time they dismissed your feelings or took you for granted. The choices they made, the dismissive comments, the careless attitude, they start to haunt them. And with each passing day, the realization sets in that they're the ones who pushed you away, that their arrogance, their ego, cost them something they didn't realize was priceless. Imagine someone who once acted like they were untouchable, like they didn't need anyone. They brushed off your kindness, ignored your attempts to connect, and acted like they were doing you a favor just by being in your life. But now they're left alone, and the weight of their actions starts to sink in. They realize that by pushing you away, they only push themselves into loneliness and regret. Their pride, the very thing that made them act like you were disposable, is now a bitter reminder of what they've lost. Or think about that person who constantly played it cool, acting like they were better off without you, like they didn't care if you stayed or left. But your absence is a mirror, forcing them to see the consequences of their actions, and that mirror shows them a painful truth. They're the ones who messed up. Their pride made them blind to your worth, and now, as regret eats away at them, they're forced to face that they're responsible for the emptiness they feel. They may try to suppress this regret, push it down, tell themselves that they're fine without you. But it doesn't work. Regret doesn't let go easily. It's a constant reminder, a voice in the back of their mind, replaying memories of the times they didn't appreciate you. Every time they see or hear something that reminds them of you, it stirs up that regret, and it gnaws at their pride like a slow burn they can't extinguish. Here's the power you hold in this moment. You didn't have to lift a finger to teach them this lesson. By walking away, by choosing yourself, you forced them to see that their pride, their ego, was just a shield that ultimately cost them something real. And as they sit with that regret, they're left knowing that there's no one to blame but themselves. Affirm this. I am not responsible for anyone's regrets or pride. I am worth more than being someone's afterthought. Say it, feel it, and remind yourself that you don't owe anyone a second chance just because they realized your value too late. Their regret is their burden to carry, not yours. And if you're ready to keep moving forward, if you're done letting anyone's pride or ego determine your worth, then stay with me. Like this video, share it, and let's keep building your strength. Let them feel every ounce of regret while you rise higher, reclaiming your power and standing in the confidence of knowing your worth. Number 7. Their desperate move to lure you in when the regret, the loneliness, and the sting of losing you fully sink in, they'll reach a breaking point. Suddenly, they realize that if they don't do something drastic, they might lose you forever. And that fear lights a fire in them, a desperate need to reel you back in, to make you forget how they treated you, and to bring you back into their world. But here's the truth. Their actions aren't rooted in genuine change. They're fueled by the fear of loss. They'll go out of their way to appear like they've changed, using every tactic they can think of to pull you back. Maybe they'll start bombarding you with messages, flooding your phone with apologies and promises of being different this time. They'll tell you everything you wanted to hear, all those words they withheld when you were still around, hoping that a flurry of sweet promises will wipe away the hurt they caused. But deep down, you know this is just an attempt to soothe their ego, to avoid facing life without you. Or they might try a more subtle approach, reaching out as if nothing happened. They'll pretend they're casually checking in, acting like they don't even remember the hurt they caused. They'll show up on your social media, liking posts, dropping comments, hoping you'll notice. They'll try to look like they're thriving, attempting to make you feel like they're doing better without you, as if to lure you into proving them wrong. It's a classic bait tactic, meant to play on your emotions and lure you back into the cycle. The truth is, their move to lure you back is all about control. They don't want to admit they've lost someone valuable, someone who brought stability and warmth to their life. Instead of genuinely reflecting on what they did, they focus on getting you back as quickly as possible, hoping you'll forgive and forget. But remember, desperation isn't transformation. Just because they're doing everything in their power to pull you back doesn't mean they've changed or learned anything from losing you. This time, you have the power. You're the one who stepped away, the one who saw your own worth and decided not to be taken for granted. Their desperate attempts to lure you back only prove how valuable you are. You were never an option to be picked up and dropped whenever it suited them. You were always the prize, and now they're the ones struggling to earn a place back in your life. Say this affirmation with me: I am worth more than empty promises and desperate moves. Remind yourself that you don't need to respond to someone's fear of losing you. They had the chance to appreciate you, and they let it slip away. Stand firm in your worth, and let their desperation be a reminder of how much they took for granted. And if you're ready to move forward with confidence, stay with me. Their desperate moves don't hold power over you anymore. You're free, strong, and fully in control. Let's continue this journey forward, honoring the value you bring to the table. Number 8. Silence that haunts them. Now let's talk about the silence that haunts them. Your silence is louder than any words you could say, a constant reminder of what they lost. In every quiet moment, your absence echoes, filling the spaces they thought would go unnoticed. They scroll through their phone, expecting a message, a reaction, anything that shows you still care. But there's nothing, just an empty inbox and a void they can't ignore. This silence isn't just quiet, it's a mirror, forcing them to face the reality they avoided. It's the realization that you're not there to reassure them, not there to pick up the pieces. Each day without a response digs deeper, making them feel what it's truly like to be left behind, to feel the emptiness of losing someone who once filled their life with light. The beauty of this silence. You're not doing a thing, yet it's the most powerful message you could send. It's your way of saying, I'm worth more than words, and my absence speaks volumes. Let them sit in that silence. Let it haunt them as a reminder of the respect they lost. And if you're ready to keep holding this strength, stay with me. There's more power to reclaim. Number 9. The fear that breaks them. Let's get into the fear that breaks them. When all else fails and every attempt to lure you back falls flat, they're left with a fear that grips them like nothing they've ever felt. The fear of losing you for good. It's no longer just regret or curiosity. This fear goes deeper. They start imagining life without you and realize that their actions have permanently closed the door. They feel it in their gut, a gnawing dread that they've pushed you past the point of no return. This fear doesn't let them rest. Every thought circles back to you, every memory a reminder of what they took for granted. They're haunted by the idea that you're moving on, finding someone who truly values you, someone who won't make the same mistakes. The thought is enough to break them, and the worst part, they know they did this to themselves. In this moment you hold all the power. Their fear is proof of your worth, a testament to what they lost. You're no longer an option. You're the prize they let slip away. So here we are, standing at the end of this journey, but the beginning of something powerful for you. You've reclaimed your worth, stepped into your strength, and shown that your value isn't up for debate. Let them feel the loss, the silence, the fear, because you've moved on to something better. If this message resonated, hit like, share it with someone who needs this reminder, and let's keep building a community of strength, self-respect, and true worth. Remember, you're the prize. Keep rising, keep shining, and let's move forward together.